I have a question from Christy here in the audience who wants to know, Dan and Lacey, you seem to have a lot of on-air chemistry. How do you gain that bond so quickly, given how recent you've come to this market and how long you've been here?
Well, I think it's something that just evolves. I mean, Lacey's been here for her entire life. I'm a new guy that's bounced around coming into the market, so I have to defer to her for a lot of things. You hang out with each other. You're sitting across like you do with Reggie next to each other for, an hour a day. We're sitting across from each other for 3 hours a day. And I don't think it's something you can really force. Yep. So you just try to be yourself, which I know can be a shock to a lot of people. And I think probably was when Lacey first met me, because I'm pretty open on the air, and I'll talk about just about anything as well. And I think a lot of people that have done this for a long time were told, you tell the news, this is how it is, you don't interject your opinion, you don't have fun on the air. Now, there's certainly a time and a place for that, and I think everybody's personality shows in the style that they read a story or how they write, and I think that's part of how our personality develops too. What about you?
Ditto.
Okay.
Just kidding. No, it's interesting to hear Dan's experiences about, the new places that he goes in the city and what he's discovering, during his weekends and stuff like that. So, yeah, and you are kind of, it can't be forced, but if you sit with someone in a room for 3 hours, you have to get to know them and work on all that stuff. So yeah, I can't believe it's been a year. Honestly, it's flying by.
It's interesting too, because I'll come in the morning and sometimes catch the last half hour of these guys, Steve and Rebecca, working together, and just sit and watch them. And they've been doing it for 13 years. And it's like an old married couple.
They're hilarious together. They really are.
It's true, and they all have their quirks. I mean, Rebecca's running around doing this. Steve, the first day.
Not true.
No, it is. First, we have our 11 o'clock meetings, and back then Steve used to attend them, and he'd eat an apple every day at 11 o'clock. And I was my first day in the office, and he's eating an apple, and he's eating an apple, and he's done. He's down to the core. He's eating the core, and it's gone. And I was like, wow, this is strange.
That's sustainability, buddy.
So I go in the next day, and he eats an apple at the same time. And he's eating the apple. He's down to the core. He eats the core and the seeds again. So finally I had to ask, I said, is this normal? And these are little things that you sort of, being the outsider, that you just learn about your coworkers. But, Rebecca doesn't think about it because she's worked with them for 13 years.
Nope. I always throw things at Dan when he yawns in the news meetings, too. So this is true confessions. But can I just sum up? Anytime you hear a news show, regardless of the genre of the show, it's always like, just remember in your head, it's like an arranged marriage. So all of a sudden, it's like, you two get in there, get along, and make it work, And not that I would know exactly what that's like, but I would imagine that's what it's like, because you find that chemistry.
I have a question from Dan in the audience, and this is open to anyone. What is the most strange or awkward question you have ever been asked? Oh, you hear someone go, oh boy. Hold on, everybody. Yeah. There was a couple Theodore questions in there, by the way. I thought I'd get to Dan's first.
I think the one you just asked, that one right there.
Yay. Congratulations, Dan. You win tonight's program.
Can you guys think of any
Does
weird
anything ever
question?
happen?
I can think of one.
Okay.
I can think of one. You'll remember this. Long ago, we had some salespeople, Bill, this was a long, long time ago, who would come into the studio after working for about a year for KXL, and they'd go, what do you guys do in the morning?
Can you just tell us? And they had a notepad, and I just, can't you just listen? Yeah. That was a long time ago, Bill. Yeah, where's Bill? He left.
Speaking of listening, this one cracks me up. Sean, thank you for this. Lars, does Tina listen to your show? And how can I get my wife to listen to me?
Tina listens to some of the show, and it's just she's busy as well. In fact, she's home taking care of my father-in-law tonight, who just came back from the hospital. But there are days she'll listen to all of it, and days she listens to none of it. And it's more dependent on her schedule and what's going on, and honestly, whether or not she's interested in what I'm talking about. Because there are days she'll say, "Oh, you spent a bunch of time on this, and I wasn't that interested." And she's a very honest critic, and she also throws me ideas. She's more conservative than I am, if that's possible.
And you never stop working. Lars and Tina were on a cruise one time, and he was emailing me. And he goes, have you followed up on this? And I'm like, would you go have a vacation? Tina's going to kill you right now.
We have a good time.
I'm curious. This question's coming from Sky, and this is for you. Sky wants to know, if you could travel to anywhere in the universe other than Earth, where would you go?
In the universe, where would I go?
Isn't there a restaurant at the end of the universe?
Yeah, anywhere in the universe, where would I go? A restaurant?
It's a Douglas Adams thing.
I'd like to go to Mars. Yeah, of course. In fact, I've got a title deed to Mars hanging in my office, given to me by my fiance. But I would love to go to Mars. I remember when they were asking the question of, I think it was Mars One, asked a group of people if they would go to Mars, and 78,000 people said yes. They immediately volunteered, and they said they would do it regardless of how bad the conditions were. And they were told that they would have to set up camp, they have to set up the settlements. I think it'd be a great adventure to do that. If I didn't have anything left here on Earth, I would probably go to Mars and see what it'd be like. All right.
And now a wedding proposal.